Well, I'm delighted to have back in the studio with us a warrior and friend, Bryan Platt, with us today with the Jackson County Right to Life. And I just wanted to get Bryan in the studio for a couple things. First of all, to announce your continuing picket in front of Planned Parenthood, which will be tomorrow.
We do. It's tomorrow at noon, huh?
And noon to 1. Just show up and you'll take care of the rest?
Yeah, just show up. It's an hour long.
Mm-hmm.
We have signs there for people, so there's no need to get into a flurry over making your own sign up. We've got plenty of signs. We have a little bit different take on picketing after the incident in Grants Pass the other day.
Right.
And, that incident could have been avoided by either side of the equation,
right,
with just a little bit more, I don't know, what would
finesse.
you say? Oh, finesse is a good word.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit more diplomacy. I mean, we didn't need to kick signs, but we didn't need to push anybody.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what that was what the resolution of that was. I don't know that I've heard, but it really makes us mindful when we're out there that we represent a greater cause.
Right.
And I think that's our first obligation, is to present Christ to those people out there, even though our signs may be blunt.
Right.
Factual and accurate, but blunt.
Yeah.
But our own persona, our own demeanor needs to be controlled. And the old the proverb that a soft word turns away wrath is the operative
All right,
phrase.
so your picket's tomorrow, noon to 1, in front of Planned Parenthood, downtown Medford. And let me say also to our listeners and viewers, just show up. This is a non-confrontational, this is an educational picket.
It is. It's absolutely educational, and its primary focus, and this is based on Jim Sedlak from stop.org, his organization, which is dedicated to stopping Planned Parenthood and its agenda in communities, is the defunding aspect.
Right.
Obviously it goes into the abortion thing, and I'd like to talk about that a little bit more later, but it really, it's about our tax money being used to promote or to support an organization that promotes abortion, and of which abortion is a big part of their agenda.
All right. Quick question. Looks like we're in for 4 more years of hard battle. The president was reelected. You probably heard my show with Pastor Rick Boyer, which is the beginning of a series that I'm doing with various pastors. What do we do now, coach, so to speak?
Yeah.
And I thought he was very clear in his explanation, along with Wallace Henley I had on from Second Baptist Church in Houston, who basically said tens of thousands of Christians were praying for God's will.
Probably millions.
Millions.
Yeah.
And God's will was Obama got reelected. Now, we're having a hard time processing that, but this could be really hard times for the Right to Life movement when this president has been so anti-life. What's your thinking now?
Well, I think it can go, I think it will actually go both ways. Yeah, just in the immediate aftermath of the election, it's like, holy moly, now what? What do we do? And we've put so much work and so much energy into this, and we're making progress on a number of fronts, and those will actually continue. Technology is going to continue to bring the reality of the humanity of the unborn in the womb onto the television screen, where children are just sucking it up like a dry sponge. And at the same time, I think that the conflict that's bound to happen, more money to Planned Parenthoods, more administrative support for abortion and that agenda, is going to bring more people to a righteous anger. And in turn, I think they're going to respond by becoming involved at a level which they've not before. Complacency maybe have to be shoved aside at this point in time. We roll up, I didn't bring any sleeves to roll up, Perry, but you could roll up your sleeves for all of us. I mean, we've got to roll up our sleeves and resolve to do more.
Yeah, I still think we're people need to understand we are on the winning side. We will win this issue. It's just a matter of time. And I think what God has done now is maybe testing our own steel at this moment. We don't like that kind of testing. It's very uncomfortable. But we work harder.
Yeah.
We stay at it. The message doesn't change.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone from our chapter, from Oregon Right to Life. I haven't heard anybody say, "Well, that's it. I'm throwing in the towel.
Yeah.
This issue is now resolved. I'm giving up." Not at all. I think everybody looks at this and goes, "Okay, we have our marching orders. We know where we stand at the human level, at the earthly level. Now let's get at it and let's get the job done."
And I just want to say to our viewers and listeners, look, picketing, an educational picket down in front of Planned Parenthood is just one of the things you can get involved with. But I think Everything we deal with in life, everything we deal with in our culture, everything we deal with even in politics and religion stems on one thing. We were created in the likeness and the image of God.
Amen, brother.
Life is the sacred point of everything. And if life becomes expendable, then everything else becomes expendable. And if that isn't enough to draw you to this argument, I think you're going to fight every other issue in life with mixed emotions.
That's so well said, Perry. I mean, it is the foundation upon which we stand.
Yeah.
And there isn't anywhere else to go if we can't get past that unalienable right, you know, that's been given to us. And so, and I am the first to say that each of us as Christians has their part of the body, has their calling that the Lord has given to them as part of their Christian ministry. Right. And not everybody has to be involved in the fight for the life issue necessarily. Right. For me, it was a clear-cut thing from the moment I was saved. It's just, it was just a real, a miraculous event. I mean, almost. But I think the key that I stress to everyone is find something. You know, we all as Christians need to be involved in something, some level of ministry, pro-life or whatever it is, and we're going to have plenty of challenges. They're going to be presented to us to the left and to the right here in the coming years. So, well,
again, coming up tomorrow is one of the opportunities. I think you'll find out how friendly it can be. It can be a little chilly. It could be a little wet.
It could be ugly tomorrow. Yeah. Bring your umbrella.
Bring your umbrella. It's only an hour, and it's an opportunity to talk very simply to people. All right, some other things that you're concerned about.
Well,
we got about 10 minutes here.
You know what? Yeah, I think that. You know, what I want to focus on here is just why we're targeting Planned Parenthood. I mean, to me, this is a fundamental impact in our community that's anti-life, this organization. And I don't think people still really understand, because it's had such a long period of being labeled as the benevolent mother figure to all these young women that are in crisis situations, and just come in, we're going to take care of you, and their propaganda machine is second to none as far as the messaging goes. And so this is why we're involved in this educational thing, is because it is almost demonic in its nature. And I need to probably stop at this point and make the statement that I believe a lot of the people that volunteer at the Medford Clinic down there, the Planned Parenthood Clinic, are absolutely clueless and innocent in that respect. They have absolutely no idea what the ulterior motives and the machinations and the agenda that Planned Parenthood International actually has. I think they're down there truly feeling like they're doing something to help the community by helping these young people that are in distress. But the fact is that this organization as a whole is an anti-God, anti-life organization. And we have just got to keep hammering that to the community. Jackson County, the health department, has a website that I would encourage everyone to go to when they've got some time and they're just doodling on the computer. And it has the entire Health and Human Services Department, their departments and their agendas are laid out there on the Jackson County, .com or .org or whatever they are website. And when you start looking and digging into some of the little trails, or whatever they call those threads, that you go through when you're on a website, and you follow these down, Planned Parenthood is involved in the Jackson County's Health and Human Services Department in a way you just can't believe. You can spend hours following all these threads down, and the bottom line is that Jackson County has embraced Planned Parenthood and their agenda beyond anybody's imagination. Now Jackson County Health and Human Services, Perry, is a $50 million+ annual operation. This is not a small operation. And so one of the focuses of Jackson County Right to Life has been to begin to, number one, explore all the areas within the structure of Jackson County administration where Planned Parenthood has their tentacles. And then number two is to begin to expose that to the public. Planned Parenthood of Southwest Oregon receives, in the past 5 years, they have received 64.7% of their total funding from us, the taxpayers. So 2/3 of their budget has come in the last 5 years has come from the taxpayer. Now that's at all levels. It's not just Jackson County, but it's federal, it's whatever.
That's a lot of money.
But that's a lot of money. And you have other organizations, you take the Rogue Valley Pregnancy Resource Center that doesn't get one dime of taxpayer money and yet has a mission and a ministry there that's helping these young women on a daily basis. So, you know, our purpose obviously is to prevent as many abortions as possible, because clearly Planned Parenthood is the #1 abortion provider in the country. But to get there, we've got to find ways to educate the people, hammer home this idea that if Planned Parenthood has a viable, you know, message or goal, then they should be able to do it standing alone on their own and without our taxpayer money, you know, helping them out.
Well, I think it couldn't have been said any more clear, and that's what the energy is about right now, especially when you're down there, is to make people aware that a vast majority, in fact, your tax dollars, no matter where it is, federal, state, county, whatever, eventually portions of that tax dollar goes to fund Planned Parenthood. It's one of the greatest schemes that's ever happened in our culture.
Well, that's probably a good way to put it. What's really fun, Perry, is you've got the RCC students down there, and it's a busy spot right there during the day. And you know, the thing, bless their hearts, they're young and they're intellectually inquisitive, if you want to use that. And I'll say to them, they'll look at that and they'll go, well, what's your complaint with Planned Parenthood? And I'll say, well, look, let me put it this way. Do you support the war in Afghanistan? And that's almost a sure deal that I'm going to get a no on that. Okay. So, oh no, I don't know. I don't support that war. Well, do you understand that your tax dollars that you're giving to the federal government are going to help support that? Yeah, they are. And boy, that really makes me mad. You know, I wish I couldn't do that. And I said, well, then now you understand where we're coming from. We object to Planned Parenthood, we object to their mission and what they're doing, and we don't want our tax dollars going to support that organization. Just like that, it's like, oh yeah. You know, so
that's a great scenario.
The message will resonate if you just kind of turn it back around on them, and all of a sudden they're kind of walking away going, you know, we may disagree on whether Planned Parenthood has some viable service that no one else seems to be able to render or whatever, but you know what? I can understand your position now.
Okay. Now, some quick stats. I only got about 3 minutes left. Some quick stats on what's happening with abortions in this state. Are we up or down?
Well, it's actually been trending down, and I mean, that's obviously that's good news. Surgical abortions are trending down, but I think hidden back there, and this isn't getting much press, and it's probably something we need to do a little bit more research on, is the fact that these early services, Plan B, Ella, RU 486, may be supplanting surgical abortions as a force, you know, for evil with respect to ending human life. And there's very little statistical information about that. In fact, the reason we started picketing Planned Parenthood here locally was because Planned Parenthood began to distribute the RU 486, which clearly is an abortifacient. So yes, surgical abortions are trending down, praise the Lord. The question is, are we still losing babies to these chemical abortions? So, you know, there's a mixed, you know, blessing maybe there.
A couple quick things. Tomorrow, noon, in front of the Planned Parenthood, right there next to RCC. Be there. Bryan and his team will supply you with signs if you can give an hour of your time. The January rally, quickly.
Yeah, we're going to go back to our traditional January rally on the steps of the Jackson County Justice Building. I just wanted to plant that seed for everybody. We have some pretty fun things that we're going to be doing at this one. This is the 40th anniversary of Roe v. Wade, Perry. Wow. 40 years now. The count is 55 million babies. Wow. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And we're just put it on your calendar, everybody. It's 1:30 in the afternoon, so plenty of time to get home from church, have a bite to eat. Come on down, rain or shine, on the steps of the Jackson County Justice Building.
Thank you, pal, for what you do.
Oh, you're welcome, Perry.
All right, we'll be right back.